Hello and welcome to Doc to Me. My name is Heather.
And I'm Kathleen. And I was definitely
paying attention.
I was definitely looking at some sex scene thing.
Wait, what?
It was just like some like movie scenes, unplanned movie scenes or something. I don't know.
Why? We didn't even mention anything.
I don't. It came up on my phone. I don't know. Anyway, I'm Kathleen, and I'm together now.
And now we know where your kid got her ADHD from. And this week we are going back to a classic and having another round of Forensic Files recaps, because why not?
It was so hard for me to pick this time, as my husband can attest. I was like trying to like get him to pick for me, and he's just like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
I was reminded of a case, and I was like, oh, that's a good one. That's why I was like, hey, can we do this again?
I really want to do like Darlie Routier though, like after
but
like
that one is just like,
it's hard. It's so hard. But that Texas Monthly article just like keeps me like, did she not? Like, it's kind of sketchy.
I got my Texas Monthly today, and it was very disappointing. It was like all about Greg Abbott. I was like, I don't give a shit about this dude.
Fuck him.
So, anyway, it was fun last time, so no need to go into the background of Forensic Files since we did it the first time on episode 24 from back in November, which I thought it was way further than that.
Time flies when you're, or doesn't fly when you're having fun. I don't know. One of those things.
So April. We've been doing this almost a year.
I know. I was like super excited. I was like, what are we going to do for our anniversary?
I have no idea.
I feel like we're like a couple. Like, what are we going to do?
Oh my God. I don't even do that much with my husband.
Same. It gets old.
We'll go out to dinner together.
To be fair, it's pretty special as a first anniversary. Once you get to like 10 or 11, you're just like, what the fuck? Like,
oh, I forgot.
Do we want to order in and just like
I was
watch
walking down
a movie?
The hallway because we have that sign where it's like, it says established, and I forgot we'd been married 6 years already. I was sitting doing the math. I was like, oh my God, it's been 6 years.
Did I tell you about how my kid like thought that it had to be like established her birthday because she was born before we were married? I was like, no, that's not how it works. It's the marriage date. And she's like, but you guys were together before. I was like, okay, but it's when the marriage happened. Quit bringing that up.
So before we get into that, just to remind you guys, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter, or you can email any comments or suggestions to drmepod@gmail.com. And I didn't tell you this, but we do officially have a PayPal account.
What? We're balling now.
Because again, we've been doing this for almost a year. Every dime is appreciated, and we'll give you a shout out at the end of the next recorded episode. The PayPal is the same as our email address. Yes, doctomepod@gmail.com. I hate feeling like we're begging for money, but I was like, you know what?
It would basically just be buying us wine.
Yeah. Or tacos.
God, I love tacos.
Like, literally 50 cents is a taco from Jack in the Box.
Oh, man. That does sound delicious. I'm like,
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. So I will... Did you want to go first? You want me to go first? How drunk are you? Can you last through me? Or
I can last through you.
Okay. I will be covering episode 7, Murder, She Wrote, from season 11, which premiered August 30th, 2006.
Wow.
And it doesn't feel like the 2000s. And this episode can easily be found on YouTube, which is where I watched it.
Oh, look at you.
Super easy to find it.
As if we don't have enough streaming services that we pay for.
But YouTube is what it came up on. Yeah, I was reminded about the story and was like, oh, we need to do another round. Because this one is so frustrating. Like, I hate blaming the victim, but it's one of those, I was like, come on.
I had a hard time picking, so I'm interested to see what you went with.
We start off with a beautiful picture of husband and wife, David and Sandra Deist. They met in high school and they got married after they both attended Calvin College in Grand Rapids, Michigan. David started his career as an Amway salesman, so no career. And then he started working for his father-in-law's insurance company.
Oh, this is going to be good.
So married his high school sweetheart, and now his boss is his father-in-law. So you can already see shit is not perfect.
You don't want that.
No. They end up having 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, and he's making cash with this insurance gig, and she has her own business of raising and training horses and giving riding lessons.
Oh, shit.
Did you figure this one out?
Yes.
She participated in her first horse show at the age of 3, so she's definitely a horse girl.
There's something different about horse people.
Yes.
Like, I'm in every animal people.
From Bob's Burgers. Just horses and boy butts. So, and then the quote on this is, "But Sandy soon learned that the horse business can be dangerous." And by that, Peter Thomas, the narrator, means November 19th, 1998, Sandy says a horse got spooked and kicked her in the head.
Sounds about right. Horses do be doing that.
Horses do be doing that. Her injury is so severe, she has to crawl over to a neighbor's house to get help. Head injuries are bonkers. You could be fine, or you could be like her and suffer from terrible headaches and obvious mood changes.
I can think of so many cases where people have, like, murdered people after that.
Oh my God,
shit.
crime in sports, all the football players and boxing people, like, it's...
That wrestler, like...
Oh my God, killed his whole family.
That man that murdered his whole family, that man that murdered his whole family.
Yes, Chris Benoit.
But there was another man who murdered, like... God, what did he murder, like 10 kids or some shit? 6 kids?
I don't know.
It was a long time ago.
I remember the Lawson one, the Christmas, where he killed his whole family, and that was after he got hit in the head.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
With the raisin cake.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and people were stealing shit from the cake. It's so fucking weird. Can you imagine if we were just, like, walking around with, like, mementos from a murder?
First off, who makes a cake for Christmas with raisins on it? Like,
devils.
It's the demons.
He sent the other kid away, and then the kid died later on.
Yeah, he went shopping for, like, bullets or something to go hunting. Yes.
I'm going to send you on an errand.
I remember reading the book on this. I was like, this is insane.
Wasn't there speculation that he had gotten the oldest daughter pregnant?
Yes. That's an insane story. This is not that story.
We can talk about so many different murders depending on what subject we're on.
Anyway, so Sandy's depression is so bad, she's prescribed Paxil by her doctor, who testifies that she seemed to do better after that. She's doing well enough that in 1999, she and one of her horses placed in the top 5 at the All-American Quarter Horse Congress in Columbus, Ohio, which I don't know what the fuck that is, but all I can think about is Horse Congress, and that sounds fun.
Could you imagine them with, like, all their little papers, and they're like, Congress is now in session?
Because then it makes sense, because they could say nay. No bills are getting passed, because they all just keep saying nay.
But also, could you ever, like, imagine, like...
Such a dad joke.
Could you imagine getting kicked in the head by a horse, and then, like, later on you're just, like, getting back on the horse? Like, I'm sorry, but that's one horse I would never get back on.
Horse. I don't think it's the
same. Did
same.
she turn that one into glue?
I don't know.
Do they actually still do that?
I don't know.
Google, are horses glue?
So she's not out of the horse game. She's still participating in her hobbies, which if she wasn't, I think would be a huge red flag. So everything seems to be going better until March 29th, 2000, when David calls 911 and says, "Ma'am, it's my wife. She tried to kill herself again. I think she did it this time." And he doesn't really sound upset at all. Like, they played the tape and he sounds rushed, but he's not, like, screaming or crying. And he says she shot herself in the head, so just remember that. An ambulance arrives and rushes her to the hospital, but she's dead on arrival at only 40 years of age. David tells the police they were having marital problems and were no longer sharing a bed together, so she had the
That's like a dream.
Yeah. She had the master bedroom to herself, and he was crashing on the couch in the living room. He said he heard a gunshot and ran into the bedroom and took the gun out of her hand, laid it on the bed, and ran to call 911. And the kids are in the house and they report hearing their dad run to the bedroom. So that kind of matches up.
Yeah.
They do a visual inspection of his shirt and don't see any obvious blood stains on it. And he even passes a lie detector test, which, whatever. That
doesn't hold up.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
Nothing. The cops do find it odd that Sandy didn't leave a note, though. And
did you know, surprisingly, like, a lot of people don't leave a note?
Well, in this next part, also, they found it odd that a woman would use a gun in a suicide because we're always so worried about things being messy and we know no one else is going to clean up, but...
Dude, if I am at a point where I'm going to kill myself because my marriage is so rocky, I hope my fucking husband has to clean that shit up. Like, enjoy the blood and
that was
guts.
my take on it, is because we're constantly having to clean up after everybody.
That is true. But it's about time they fucking clean up after us.
But statistically, women are less likely to use a gun. But
we are more about the poisons.
It's not impossible. I saw a study from 2020 that showed 33% of women versus 58% of men. So, I mean...
It's not a huge rise
one
in men.
Yeah, women's suicides are...
I would have expected more than 58% for men.
But even 33 is not... That's, I mean, a third.
I was thinking about, like, the whole, like, using the carbon monoxide from, like, your car, like, the exhaust fumes and everything. And I was remembering, like, a situation where a mother had, like, tried to kill herself that way. And she ended up accidentally killing, like, all of her kids in the house because it, like, seeped in.
Well, they say now, because of cars the way they are, like, it's...
basically impossible.
You can't do it. Yeah, you can't just leave it running in the garage.
No, you'd basically run out of gas before you ever died.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Oh, I'm just kidding. It's better for the environment.
Think of all the people trying to off themselves painlessly.
You're so selfish. They go ahead and perform an autopsy on her, and damn if she wasn't determined to kill herself, because they find 2 bullets in her skull.
I'm always, like, shocked by, like, the times where people are like, she stabbed herself 12 times. Yeah. It's like, I have known dedication, but I have never known that level of dedication. And
they show a diagram, and it's not, like, just one winged her, so she fired another one, like... They're like, straight through her brain.
Both snagged her in the face.
They're like an inch apart in her brain. Like, one would do the job. You don't need 2 of them.
Like, maybe, like, reflexes, like, she consecutively, like, shot herself and then, like, they're, like, just shot, made her shoot herself again. Like, is that a thing? I don't know.
Not in this case. They also find blood splatter on the gun, but nothing on her hands and arms.
Interesting.
It's peculiar. The crime scene analyst Ross Gardner tells us this and does this weird thing with his eyebrows, like, can you believe this shit? He also talks with his mouth, like, really wide. Like, that's all I can focus on. He's interesting. And then the police receive a call from Sandy's sister, who tells them about a weird conversation she had with Sandy a year prior. Sandy told her, if anything weird happens to me, I left a note in the china cabinet for you to read. You know, our sisters say that stuff to us all the time.
All the time.
So the cops get a warrant to search the home, and this isn't what you think of when you think of a china cabinet, like with the glass doors around it and all that.
Yeah, I'm thinking like where you store plates.
Yeah, like do not touch that damn thing ever. Don't even look at it. It's like there's china in it, but it's more like they have hats sitting on top. There's like a desk area. It's really
It seems
weird.
like a very active part of the house.
Ribbons hanging on it, like, and then some drawers for china. But it looks like where they pay their bills and...
Okay, it seems like a very, like, used place of the house.
Yeah. But they do manage to find a note hidden away in the bottom in an envelope marked with Sandy's sister's name. So it's interesting. They send it to the crime lab where it is opened, and the letter basically says, hey, if I'm dead, it's my husband.
Which, like... You couldn't just, like, tell your sister that in person? Like, hey.
But then it's also like, remember when I was kicked by that horse? Nah, that was, David hit me with an axe hammer.
What the fuck?
Which I didn't know what an axe hammer was, but it's literally, like, an axe on one side, hammerhead on the other side, just
that sounds like an accident waiting to happen.
Yes. Why do you need that? That sounds insane.
It's a weapon. It's never used for...
No. Like, I want to smash through this wall, but also hang this painting. Like, what do you need that for?
Oh, God. I smashed a hole in the wall.
Did the wrong
I was just trying to nail a
the
nail
wrong
in.
side of it. And she even states in her note that she would never commit suicide. So...
Ah.
And the cops find the handwriting to be consistent with Sandy's. She even left a fingerprint on it, and her DNA is on the envelope where she licked it. So,
The good old licking.
They look into her medical records and find a doctor after the horse thing who didn't believe...
That she was depressed?
No, that she was kicked by a horse.
Oh. Why are we always blaming the horses?
Unless the horse could leave several small circular lacerations on her head, which...
Horse hooves.
I'm not a horse expert.
Hammer. I mean, I don't know.
And another guy who visited the stable shortly after said there was no blood found near where the horses were, but it was on a wall outside the building. Those fucking clever horses.
They do be doing shit like that.
They do be doing it. They bring in David to question him, who says he never hurt his wife, but he had been having an affair with his secretary, Linda Ryan, who looks like a really rough Sarah Silverman. Like Sarah Silverman got kicked by a horse. I read an article where it also said she kept Beanie Babies on her desk. I don't know why that stuck out to me. But that's the kind of woman
it's
this
the
is.
time. Although, was 2006 really Beanie Baby time?
It's not even 2006.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
just...
that's right. That's when it aired. Okay. Yeah, you're right. My bad.
9/11 hasn't even happened yet. It's right around the corner.
It is Beanie Baby time then.
It is Beanie... But you're a secretary. Have some respect for yourself.
We were all...
Beanie Babies at work.
Do you remember that divorced couple that, had to sort through their Beanie Babies?
I love that picture. It's in my mind at all times.
That's the first thing that comes to mind when I think Beanie Babies.
All I can think is the judge and lawyers who were like, we spent so much money to go to school for this shit.
They made so much money on that case, though.
Oh, my God. But anyway, David's trying to say that Sandy found out about the affair, so not only was she depressed about it, but here's also a voicemail from Sandy saying exactly that. And they played the voicemail, and it's her basically saying, you know what, just go on, live your life without me. And her voice just sounds like she's just done.
Yeah, I'm divorcing you, not I'm gonna kill myself.
It's I'm just tired of having these arguments. Just go live your life, whatever. You've been in a shitty relationship. You know that feeling at the end of it where you're done. You know it's over.
Okay.
Go live your life. I'll go
bye.
live mine. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what it sounds like. Not at all depressed.
Yeah, it's just a peace out.
Yeah. David is still insisting the horse tried to take her out, and now he's claiming that, of course, the gun must have double fired. I know nothing about guns, but they make it seem in this that the gun was fairly modern and as many safety features as you could have with a gun.
Yeah, it's not really something that just...
It's not some old Wild West gun that's just going to go off when you drop it on the table or something.
It was a misfire.
Yeah.
What in tarnation?
So in other words, it absolutely will not misfire unless you put full pressure on the trigger, and I'm sure the safety also has to be off. They did more tests on this gun and said that most guns require between 4 to 6 pounds of pressure, and this gun in particular needed almost 12 pounds.
Man, that's a lot of pulling trigger.
I also read that Sandy hated guns, and that this gun had been purchased only a few months prior.
By her husband?
Yes.
Oh, what a coincidence.
They go back to the sweatshirt that David was wearing the night of Sandy's death. They said there was no blood spatter on it, but it turns out since this was initially investigated as a suicide...
They didn't really check?
They just kind of held it up to the light.
Aw, interesting.
Just glanced over it with the naked eye. So now that this is a homicide, let's take another gander. And they do it with a microscope, and oh boy. Not only is it covered in blood spatter on the front, but also they find it on the back of the sleeve.
Oh.
If you're just standing there, you're not going to get that.
Like he was like maybe holding her
If you
down.
were holding a gun or something, just your arm is in front of you.
Yeah.
So, just, it's weird. They go ahead and charge him with first-degree murder. His defense is when he found Sandy, she was coughing, which is why he had blood splatter on his shirt, which that still doesn't make sense on why it would be the back of your sleeve. I also read that his lawyer tried to argue that Sandy shot herself twice to frame David for her murder.
Remind me to do that.
And the note is also another attempt at framing him. So here's what we have so far. The victim has accused him of trying to kill her before. He's been having an affair with Linda, who divorced her husband and is now pressuring this guy to get a divorce so they could get married. And also there's some debt and a large life insurance policy. So that's bingo.
Yeah, I mean,
across the board.
Who doesn't want a nice little nest egg?
He had taken out an insurance policy on Sandy worth over $500,000. His defense is, since he's an insurance salesman, it's normal for him to take out such a large policy to set a good example for his clients instead of lying and saying you just did that. Are clients gonna want to see the paperwork for proof? It doesn't make sense.
This is my wife's life insurance policy. As you can see, I am standing to inherit $500,000. I just think that's a really good idea. Like when you lose someone, you want to be able to have that nest egg just to pay off the house and just, guide you through those next couple of months of grieving.
I know you didn't ask for proof of this, but I'm showing you anyway, so you trust me.
These are our signatures. We can talk to my insurance salesman if you'd like.
That doesn't make sense. I think this case makes me extra mad because he already tried to kill her once and it didn't work. And
I can't believe that she was just yeah, it was totally a horse that kicked me in the head.
That's the thing. Not only did it not work, she stayed with him and didn't tell the police. So he thinks he can try again.
It's very frustrating.
You get one chance.
Didn't you text me and say something about you only
I
get
didn't
one
want to
shot?
tell you. I didn't want to tell you the case. I was just like, you get one chance to kill somebody.
But I was just like, unless you get 3 chances, because I feel like that's happened before.
But I was like, I don't want to condone murder, but if you're gonna do it, you only get one chance.
I mean, wasn't the guy with the parachute sabotage?
Yes.
Didn't he try to kill her 3 times?
And he almost killed the kids too.
Yeah, sometimes you do get more than one time.
You get one chance. If you fuck it up, you just gotta live with the consequences.
Otherwise, it doesn't look like an accident.
And then if it can't get any worse, this idiot takes the stand.
Oh, God.
And he doesn't even squeeze out a tear because he's too busy smiling and chuckling through the testimony.
Oh, man.
He's a fucking psycho. So, yeah, he's found guilty and sentenced to life with no parole. All of his appeals thankfully failed. And he died April 16th, 2018.
Good riddance.
His obituary says nothing about the murder or even that he died in prison, but just that he was a, quote, devout Christian who practiced his faith under difficult circumstances, unquote. A devout Christian that shot his wife to avoid paying alimony.
Oh, boy. That's a good one.
I couldn't find much else. I know the kids kind of were on his side through it, but it was mostly because they heard him running to the bedroom. That was I'm like,
they could have been
on.
confused.
But yeah, that's the end. He never admitted guilt, so we'll never know why he even shot her twice. Just shooting her once would have done it. They have no idea why he did it twice. If he never fired that second shot, he probably would have
gotten away with it. Seriously. If you want it to look like a suicide, then you're going to need to make it look like a suicide.
That's why the big question is, why did he do it twice? It's so weird.
Did the first time not seem good enough for you?
Or if maybe she was, coughing or something, and he thought, oh, she's not dead. But, yeah. And blaming it on the horse.
How dare you? That horse probably died for your sins.
Doing all this for Linda. Never do that for Linda. So that was mine. What you got?
Well, I got a little episode called Family Ties, not to be confused with that funny little show.
So Urkel is not in this? Or Urkel.
Oh no, Family Ties was it?
That was Family Matters. What was Family Ties? Was Family Ties with Alex P. Keaton?
It was.
And Tom Hanks.
Yes.
It's the first time Tom Hanks. I apologize.
Wow.
I was like, are we talking about that episode where Urkel got drunk and fell off the apartment building? Because I love bringing that up.
Dude, I love it. Have you seen the Family Matters, like, intro where it's all just, like, who is it? Oh my god, why am I not thinking of his name? He's the wrestler guy, or boxer.
Well then I'm out.
Fuck.
Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson.
Okay.
I think it's like Mike Tyson. God. He's like every character for the intro. I'll have to send it to you. Okay, so anyway, my episode is Family Ties. It is episode 25 of season 13, and it originally aired in July 29. A little intoxicated. July 17th, 2009. So it starts off in New York. A state appellant count clerk for the New York...
One more time?
A state appellant count court clerk for the New York Supreme Court.
A court in New York.
Some guy in New York doesn't show up for work one morning. Porco.
What is happening?
I said I'd be good through yours, and I'm going to. Okay.
I need to read yours?
Peter Porco. So they send a court officer to his home to check it out. He finds clear signs of trouble. There's a key in the door. There was no horse, of course. But there is a key in the door. The door's ajar. He finds, a little bit of blood, like smeared on the door and stuff. Inside, he finds Peter dead. He's been bludgeoned to death with blood everywhere. There's a whole lot of blood in this episode. The cops come and they find his wife Joan upstairs in bed, barely clinging to life. She's alive, but barely there. There's a 3-foot fireman's axe beside her. Paramedics can literally see her brain, and they can't find her mouth to put the oxygen mask on. It's that bad.
Is this?
This is that one.
Oh my god, I love
it's a good one.
Oh my god.
So, they discover based on blood evidence that Joan is struck 3 times and Peter 16. So clearly, it was all about fucking Peter.
But
they fucking hated him.
Get to Peter.
Get to Peter. So, crazy. But Peter Porco had apparently regained consciousness sometime after the attack. And with his neocortex damaged and his paleocortex that controls his primal instincts and his,
brain stuff.
He apparently followed his morning routines and he got dressed, made breakfast, and while bleeding to death, he signed some checks and went to go check the mail outside.
And didn't he get the newspaper too?
Yes. Went and got the newspaper. He managed to get locked out while bleeding to death from axe wounds, literally hit in the head 16 times. Goes to get the paper. He gets locked outside. He finds the hidden key in the little flower pot, gets himself back inside, and collapses from blood loss.
It's like I said in mine.
Dies.
Brain injuries are so weird.
Super fucking weird. This man literally had been hacked 16 times with an axe. And he's just I'm going to make my breakfast. Dude, he had stood in the mirror for some time, probably brushing his teeth. Didn't recognize or register that he had been hacked and was clinging to life.
He's sitting there reading the morning comics Doonesbury is just out of the
It is lit these days. So, while en route to the hospital for Joan, an investigator / family friend they happens to ask Joan some pointed questions while she's kind of still conscious. Just kind of shaking her head yes or no. And he is basically hey, do you know who attacked you? She shakes her head yes. And he's was it your son Jonathan, who happens to be her oldest son, away in the Navy? And, she shakes her head no, and they're what about Christopher, the youngest son, who's away at college? And she shakes her head yes. So Jonathan Porco is the 23-year-old son who is away in the U.S. Navy on a naval submarine. She says he's not the one who did it, and obviously, like, it's pretty easy to check and make sure that he didn't fucking leave a submarine. Christopher is their 21-year-old son away at University of Rochester, a 3-hour drive away. Both of them had alibis, and Christopher allows them to go ahead and take some DNA and check his Jeep. 3 weeks later, Joan regains consciousness, which is fucking, like, mind-blowing, because she lost an eye, and literally they could see her brain.
They couldn't put the oxygen on
They literally
her.
couldn't find this woman's face. She had been hit with a fireman's axe 3 times, but, like, you know, she is a total badass, and she pulls through. She says that, like, Christopher couldn't have done it, and there was no way he would have done it. She even writes, like, a letter to the newspaper, like, saying that, like, it was wrong of them to be attacking him when they should be trying to find the rightful killer. You know, so she's, like, staunchly on Christopher's side. And there's no way Jonathan did it. There's nothing found in the Jeep to implicate Chris. There's no blood. There's no bloody clothes. There's also no recording of his Easy Pass, which is, like, for New York, kind of like our toll tag. Yeah. Going through the New York Thruway. And he would have had to take it to get there. The axe has no fingerprints. There's no blood from anyone but the victim. So it's kind of like there's not really a lot to go on. So Peter worked for, like, the New York State Court, and he had received a death threat from a court case, but that man had an alibi, and it was a pretty, like, tight alibi. There was nothing really to, like, go on from that.
He was also on a submarine.
Yeah, well, and the brother was on a submarine, yeah. So there's not, like, anyone that could potentially be, you know, was just kind of like, well, it couldn't have been him. Police receive a letter from the killer boasting about the murders and trying to draw attention away from Christopher, basically saying, like, it's laughable that you would think that this person did it, which I think is just, like, the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you're trying to, like, you know, don't bring your name into this.
Yeah.
So it also happens that, like, Peter Porco had, like, a relative that was in organized crime, Frank Porco.
Like, can we talk about that last name? Like,
Porco?
It's so stupid. I feel like you have to be super skinny
To, like, be okay with the name Porco.
Yes.
Imagine, like, the alliteration, like, Peter Porco.
Yes. It sounds like a really shitty
What are you talking about,
off-branded, like, Spider-Man. Peter Parker. Peter Parker and Peter Porco.
Oh, man. Like, whenever I think of this, I'm like, the Peter Porco case.
And that's why you said Porco. I was like, I fucking know this one.
Like, I just picture, like,
I read the book about this case.
there's, like, all the crime scene photos and just, like, you know, like, all the blood at the sink where he, like, brushed his teeth, and then, like, the blood near the dishwasher where he, like, loaded the dishwasher. And
Well,
just,
I
like,
remember something you'll get to.
Yeah. So there's also a relative of the family in organized crime, Frank Porco, a.k.a. Frankie the Fireman. Do you get it? Like the fireman's axe and then Frankie the Fireman. He's serving time in federal prison for loan sharking, and they're considering it could have been a mob hit because it kind of seems like a little bit aggressive like a mob hit would be, you know, just taking people out with a fireman's axe. And, you know, the whole, like, sending a sign with the fireman's axe and Frankie the Fireman.
But a gun is so much easier.
It really is. That or just, like, you know, never finding the bodies. So they're a little worried that, like, maybe it was a loan or, like, a mob hit for, like, him being a snitch. But obviously he's not snitching because he's in federal prison and he's still serving his time. So then they discover that Peter and Joan have a $1 million life insurance policy. And dear Chris had reached out before the attack to a financial counselor for advice on millions he'd be getting from a relative, which is a little fishy, you know, if you ask me.
I mean, I've been through that before.
Yeah, like millions that I'm
That's
getting
why
from
I'm
a
now
relative.
asking for money for
Yeah,
a
I mean, we're both loaded. Chris had also previously emailed his father asking for Joan and Peter's social security numbers and their driver's license numbers for school, saying that he needed that information for, like, his school
Do you
loans.
know your parents' social?
I do not, and also anytime anytime I need my husband's, I have to ask him repeatedly because I forget it every fucking time.
I don't even know my kids. I have to,
also
like,
do not know my children's. I have to, like, go find their car. I don't even know where their cards are.
Oh, I know where their cards are. I think the youngest is still, like, attached to all the paperwork.
Paperwork.
I haven't, like, pulled it out.
To be fair, mine's like 8, and I also am pretty sure hers is attached to the paperwork still.
But again, we don't know our parents. We've never asked for it.
No, like I can't think of a single time where I've needed their social security numbers or their driver's license numbers. I don't know any of that information. You know, honestly, to be completely honest, I don't know that I could tell you their date of birth.
I can do that.
I'm just a bad daughter.
Couldn't tell you, like, maybe the city. You know what? No, I couldn't even do that.
Yeah, psych.
The state. I can tell you the state.
I think I maybe could tell you the state they were born in, but I don't know. Maybe
date
like
of birth is all I could
maybe
do.
the year. I don't know. So then, surprisingly, the security code was actually used to disarm the alarm that they had at the Porco home that night.
I'm sorry, that last name.
I know.
The Porco home sounds like a butcher shop.
So the alarm code's actually only known to the family and maybe like 2 other people outside of the home, which is like super sus. Like, if you ask basically anyone. And also, Christopher's alibi is that he's just asleep on the couch at his dorm. So the investigators decide to go ahead and screen security and street cameras to discover, surprise, a yellow Jeep leaves the university parking lot at 10:30 p.m. And guess what Christopher is driving? A yellow Jeep.
Yeah, that's the picture I always remember.
Yes. So the alarm disarms at 2:14 a.m. Nearly 3.5 hours later. The phone line is cut at 4:59 a.m. And the yellow Jeep reappears at the campus at 8:30 a.m. So basically, it could have been the same Jeep. Also, how many yellow Jeeps are there? Which I'm sitting there thinking this whole time, like, why would you drive such a conspicuous vehicle to murder your family? Like, you couldn't just, like, have, like, a silver Honda or some shit? Like,
yeah, I got the purple Geo Metro.
Yeah, like...
Nobody's gonna know it was me.
Totally. There's got to be, like, what, like 5 in the whole city?
Yeah.
So they're thinking, like, you know, is this the same Jeep? So they go ahead and, like, zoom in as much as they can, like, on this footage that, you know, obviously in, you know, this time period, it's not like CSI where you can just be like, zoom in, enhance. Yeah. So they go ahead and compare the footage, and they clean it up to notice that there's mud on the side door, a torn parking sticker on the window, and a political sticker on the back tire cover, all matching Chris's yellow Jeep.
And a sign that says, Porco #1.
So it's pretty conspicuous. He had to use the New York Thruway, though, to make the timing, but they're confused because obviously there's no register on his toll tag or his Easy Pass. So they needed proof of who's driving the Jeep, because obviously, like, it could have been one of his college friends just going to murder his family. And since they can't see him on footage, you know, so they're trying to figure out how to actually tie him to the crime and not just his Jeep. So they'd found his Easy Pass on the floor of the Jeep, and they wondered, maybe did he pay cash? But no cameras at the toll booth, so they kind of have to figure out how to nail him without footage. So it turns out the toll collector does remember a yellow Jeep coming through before another shift.
Yeah, because that's something you remember, like,
pretty significant.
It's ugly. Who would buy this?
Yeah, yellow Jeep. That's not a color you see every day. But also they remember him kind of driving through at an excessive speed. So they go ahead and collect all 12 tickets from that time slot of, you know, towards the end of their shift when they think that he would have driven through. And they go ahead and do some forensic testing. So epithelial cells are found on a few tickets. So they go ahead and do mitochondrial DNA testing. And they found one ticket with Christopher's DNA, which says, clearly, dear old Christopher was not asleep in his dorm. So there's only like 0.4 or 0.4% of the population that could have been found with this similar DNA. So basically nailed him. Turns out Christopher had money issues, and his parents had found out. He'd forged his parents' signature on some loan documents to buy his Jeep and had taken out $30,000 to pay his classes. He was failing those classes and using the loan. Yeah, he was using the loan money to pay for those classes. And he had told his parents that the college was footing the bill for this semester because
you know they do that.
Yeah, because they do that. They said that he had they had made a mistake and like lost one of his final papers or something, and so they were going ahead and like footing that semester's bills.
No, they would make you pay it, and then they would maybe pay you back.
Yeah, just, as they do. So a year later, he's charged with the murder of his dad and the attempted murder of his mom, Joan. His mom stood by his side the entire time that he's like waiting for his trial, and he's found guilty and he's sentenced to a minimum of 50 years. What they didn't really go into, though, is that, like, they had 2 break-ins previously where the alarm was basically disarmed using a code known to the family. And some things were stolen, I think, like 2 laptops and a camera. And, like, Christopher's eBay account and his brother's also, because they used the same mailing address, they were suspended for, like, fraudulent sales because apparently Christopher had very clearly stolen things from his family and was selling them on eBay, and then pretended to be his brother Jonathan and said that Christopher had died and he wouldn't be able to send the items that these people had paid for. So it was very clear, like, through the whole episode that, like, Christopher was, like, not making financial sound decisions. Like, he bought this Jeep on a loan. He had $30,000 in loans that he had forged his parents' signature. Like, there were several times, like, they had, email evidence that, like, his parents had emailed him and reached out and said, hey, we noticed that you, like, forged our name on these loan documents. Like, we don't plan on paying this. You need to call us and, like, reach out. We need to figure this out. I'm going to call the bank. So basically he, like, offed his parents just to get out of all the financial trouble that he was in. And, and even his brother was, basically, like, he was definitely guilty.
But I think that's what's so crazy, and the mom is like, no, he didn't do it. It wasn't him.
Well, so do you remember that one case where the woman says that her husband did it, but he had, like, an alibi where he was, like, at Burger King or something like that until, like, really late at night? And it turned out that he did beat the shit out of her often, but, like, she said that he, like, tried to kill her and he raped her and stuff. And it turns out, like, somebody else had done it. But she was adamant that it was the husband. And I just think that, like, sometimes when you have these significant brain injuries, like, you can't really, not to mention the fact that, like, her husband's already been murdered. Like, do you really want to think that, like, your 21-year-old son just, like, hit you in the head with an axe 3 times?
Because that's, like, the biggest fear anyway. It's your kid trying to kill you.
Seriously, like, that's my whole life, every parenting decision I make, I'm just like, will this result in my child axing me to death in my sleep?
Like 10 years from now.
10 years from now. Like, is
Stepping on this one butterfly.
Yes, exactly. It is literally like butterfly effect. I'm like, grounding her now.
Ashton Kutcher ending up with no arms.
Will she murder me in the future?
I forgot about that movie.
That movie was so bad. So yeah, like, anytime I think of Peter Porco, I think of, like, this man.
It's just that name.
It is the name. It is the name. Also, like, and I keep saying Peter Porco because, like, obviously he's the one that, like, we think of when we think of this. Yeah, also that too. But just, when I think of this case, I think of, like, all the photographs. And also, like, could you imagine, like, you were literally dying and you were getting ready for work? That is my worst nightmare.
All you can think about is work. All I can think about is that stupid-ass Jeep.
It was so stupid.
That's what kills me. Thing I can drive.
And, like, all the identifying markers. Like, you've got, like, the fucking political... I can't remember, but for some reason I think he was a Republican. But it could just be my bias, like,
because he's a piece of shit.
He had financial troubles. He murdered his parent. Like, just, he's a Republican. But yeah, I just, like, anytime I think of this case, I struggled because I wanted to do Tyler Routier, but then I just thought about it and I was like, if I got started on that whole thing, I would be talking for days and days.
And you still don't know, like, where you want to settle.
Exactly. I really don't. I don't know where I want to settle. I want to say that, it does seem suspicious that her husband didn't wake up through all of this.
Nah, it's not that suspicious.
I don't know. And the whole sock thing. And
the sock thing is really what I was like,
The sock thing, but also her injuries. Like, unless she intended to kill herself, it just seems like it was a pretty significant injury for, like, trying to set the scene kind of thing.
But you're kind of, like, so frantic. It's the sock thing.
It's the sock thing. But, like, I don't know. There's a lot of things, too. Like, they say that she didn't, like, try to stop the bleeding, but then there's, like, towel evidence showing that, like, she did actually...
But also the adrenaline, like... Your adrenaline, your heart's already going to be pumping, like...
Well, and she's injured, too. Like, it's just, I don't know. The whole thing is very, like... But also, like, I remember having a book when I was, like, a teenager or, like, a preteen, where it was, like, all these, like... God, I have to go home and find the book, but it was, like, women who murder or something like that, and it was just literally, like... Was it just me, or was, like, the 90s and 2000s, like, the early 2000s? It was just, like, extensive mothers murdering their children.
I also had a book with that stuff, and then there was also, like, pictures of body farms, and it was really weird. But we did have that moment, like, even in Texas, it was, like, back-to-back, because it was the one where she drowned him in the tub.
Andrea Yates,
but
yes.
that was, like, postpartum, and that husband.
Dude, honestly, I don't even blame that mother. No. I blame the husband and the family. Like, you do not let a woman have that many fucking children.
Oh, she's having issues with children? Let's get her pregnant again.
Yeah, and go ahead and leave her alone with them.
Yes.
They were not supposed to leave her alone with them. And the doctor advised him several times, do not get your knife.
Get her pregnant.
Yeah, don't get her pregnant again. God, that one just makes me so angry. I feel so bad for that woman. Like, fucking 6 children. I have 2, and I'm, like, at my wit's end. And a large
part of it, they were living in an RV.
Yeah, it was just, it was absolutely insane. And then anytime I hear Hungry Like the Wolf, I think of the,
that is...
Was it Suzanne? Suzanne? No, that was the one who drove her car into the car.
Like, I hate saying it's my favorite, but she's so fucking insane. Farrah Fawcett played her in the movie.
Yes, who am I thinking of? Susan Smith was the one who drove the 2 kids in the car and into the...
Where are my babies?
He was a black man.
Yes.
God, who was
Diane
that?
Downs.
Yes,
God damn
Diane Downs. And the one girl survived, and the little boy... Oh, man. And then, like, oh, God, that case.
And then she purposely got pregnant because it would make her look good in court.
Jesus Christ. But seriously, like,
there was, a great movie, by the way, with Farrah Fawcett. I love watching that movie.
I do love that movie. I remember watching it with my mom. Like, I just feel like my childhood was a little bit different.
Farrah Fawcett was amazing for made-for-TV movies. Like,
she really was.
Was it Burning Bed? That one was great.
But, like, just that time period, it was like a whole lot of, like, anytime a kid died, you were just like, where's the mother?
Yeah.
Like, that bitch killed him.
Kids are dead, it's the mother. If the wife's dead, it's the husband.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So, yeah, I really love that case. I considered a couple other ones.
There's just so many.
There's so many. There's so many. Did you see, for some reason, this made me think of, like, the woman shot by the clown.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just recently solved where the husband had married the friend or something like that, and then it turns out she was the one who killed her.
Yeah.
God. What a time to be alive. Like, I feel like 2022 is just, like, nailing it with, like, solved episodes.
That one was solved a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, you know what it was.
That had to be at least, like, 4 years ago.
Oh, God, time's flying.
It was a while ago.
I don't like this.
I know.
We're getting older.
But yeah. I don't know what else to cover, because everything else that's come out lately is just, like, Jimmy Savile.
Really depressing.
I don't want to even watch it, let alone talk about that.
It's a lot of depressing documentaries lately.
Yeah.
But
We'll have to dig through and find something.
I think I've seen something recently that, like, seemed not as depressing. Not to say that I don't, like, enjoy the fuck out of murder.
Murder is depressing, but
sometimes it's
nothing
fun.
with kids.
Yeah. Sometimes it's, interesting where, the man wakes up and he goes ahead and brushes his teeth and unloads the dishwasher and gets ready for work. The man put on clothes. Like,
he went and got the newspaper.
I just feel like if I was at the end of my line and, like, I only had a few more minutes to live, like, if I was getting ready for work in those few minutes, like, that's the worst ending ever.
I know. Getting ready for... All you could think about is getting ready for work.
It makes me think of that, like, no sleep story or whatever, where, like, the person is going through the motions or something. Like, it's, like, the routine kind of thing. And then, like, at the end, they find out that they left their kid in the car.
Oh, my God.
You've never read that one? I'll have to send it to you. It's, like, super fucking weird. Like, you're just, like... He's like, oh, I left my phone on the counter, and it just messes up my whole day. And then at the end, he's like, oh, fuck, I left my kid in the car, and they're dead. And it just makes me think of, like, routines. Because, like, I definitely get in, like, that whole habit of, like, I've got a routine, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And then, like...
One thing distracts you, and yeah.
Yeah, and they're just, like, fucks the whole thing up. And I'm just like, God damn it. I've had a lot to drink.
We haven't seen each other in a couple weeks.
It has been a little while.
But yeah, that's going to do it. Probably back next week.
Oh, we'll definitely be back next week.
Get in touch with us.
Yeah, seriously, send us a recommendation. Like, if it doesn't involve, like, a child being hacked to death, like...
Nothing with children.
Yeah, nothing with children, but, like, hit us up. Like, we would love a recommendation.
Yes, because it's been a dry spell lately.
It really has. We need to, you know, get the back on this horse.
We need something good coming up, because we're almost close to a year.
Yeah, give us some good ones for, like, an anniversary type of feel. Like, you know, hit us up. Anyway, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Doc to Me. The opening music is by Twisterium. For comments or suggestions, we can be reached by email at doctomepod@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at doctomepod and find a link to our Facebook group in the show notes. Thank you.